Hello there, vinyl community and YouTube. JorgenS here again, and I have seen that on many vinyl community videos there are some of these top 10 movies, and I thought, why not do some top 10 movies myself? I thought that it would be a very interesting idea to do a top 10 of my absolute favorite synth and new wave albums from the 80's. It's a very hard list to do, since there are so many great albums, and most likely I have forgotten some, but if I have, please forgive me. Let's put them on an honorable mention outside of the chart, so they at least will be there. But these are the 10 best new wave synth album from the 80's that I can right now say. As everybody knows, this is one of my absolute favorite musical genres that I like, so it's a very interesting thing to do. Before I get to the top 10, let's take a look at some of the albums that received an honorable mention. Great albums that are not on the chart, but that I felt I wanted to mention because they also are so great. As I said, this is a hard thing to do because there are so many great albums, and if I could, I will have them all on shared 10 places, but the chart has only 10 places, so it was a tough job to separate the best from the less good, if I say it like that. So let's go on with it. Honorable mentions outside of the chart is Visage and their debut from 1980, consisting their famous song Fade to Grey. First time I heard this one, I bought this CD in 1994, and first time I heard this CD, I was so stunned by how awesome it was. There were song tracks mixed with instrumental tracks, and it was so beautiful and dark, and it was mysterious and exciting. Awesome, well made. Also outside, Heaven 17, How Men Are, from 1984. I'm not a fan of Heaven 17 normally. I think that they are not having the best melodies, many of their tracks, but this is by far their best album because it's very relaxing, very well made, and having some of the best songs in their career. Sounds It Now, This Is Mine, two of the, and That's No Lie, three of the greatest songs in their career. Also outside, band that I showed in my previous video when I celebrated 1985. This is an album from 1984 by French group Andeshin, and their album Le Péril Faune. I hope that is correct. My French is a little rusty, as I said. This consists songs like Cowbong, who was another of their greatest hits outside France. And we have also Miss Paramount, one of their absolute best songs. So also outside of this chart, Human League, Hysteria. Could have also here picked any Human League song. Could have picked Dare also. This one is from 1984. This is proof of awesome pop music, synth pop music. How great Human League really was in writing really quality songs, combined with fantastic production, and then of course exciting voice of Phil Oakey. Outside of the chart, we have A little less known British group Mobiles that I bought previous this year. Not too familiar name, but it is, you might picture it familiar to Ultravox, but with a female voice instead of mature. Having great hits like Drowning in Berlin's Amor Amor, great song and great album. Sadly forgotten album from 1982. OMD, Architecture and Morality. Even here as well was also hard. I couldn't pick any OMD song. I'm only taking one album per artist. So I could have picked the Crush, awesome album from 1985. Could have picked any, but I feel like this album from 1981, consisting Joan of Arc, Georgia, Souvenir, is definitely one of the absolute best albums. And finally, before we get into the top 10, just outside of this chart, Howard Jones, and I picked Dream into Action. This album has always been with me ever since childhood, consisting Things Can Only Get Better, Life in One Day, Like to Get to Know You Well, Look Mama, songs that I grew up with, but also is so fantastic, well made.
Number 10.
So let's get into top 10, and at number 10 we have also an album that may not be one of the most selling, most famous ones, but that I always loved since I heard it the first time. Bought this album at a market that they had in the middle of the street in Stockholm many years ago. And we're happy to find it by British group Blancmange and their album Mange Tout from 1984, I think. 1984, indeed. This album is filled with great pop pearls. Now, Siri, how you get in an album in a sleeve? Filled with great pop pearls, with a lot of synthesizer. I like Neil Arthur's voice. It's a special, very little amateurish, but still very suitable for 80s synth pop. Don't Tell Me, a Blind Vision. That's Love What It Is. I think that one should have been a classic in the same category as Don't You Want Me by Human League or Fade to Grey by Visage, because it's really poppy. It's really great. You're also having here a version of The Day Before You Came, an ABBA song. And take a look at the video of that song, because there you will find Agneta Fältskog from ABBA making a cameo.
Number 9.
Number 9, having this album by another totally forgotten band, Fixture Factory. A band that released only 2 albums. This one, who is the most famous one, and the other one who was a total failure, and I'm still searching high and low for that one. But this one, Throw the Warp Wheel Out, is so underrated. It is relaxing. It is awesome produced. It also consists one of the best 80s songs ever. Feels Like Heaven, and also one of the most forgotten, sadly forgotten follow-up singles, Ghost of Love, fantastic synth pop song. I like Kevin Patterson's voice. He has a mature but at the same time very suitable voice for this one. Little sounds little like Iva Davis in Icehouse, but this one is a fantastic album, sadly forgotten. I think it was drowned by the huge amount of synth pop albums that came out in 1984. So people didn't recognize it.
Number 8.
come to a band that I like very, very much. It should have been higher if 7 other albums wasn't placed before that. A Flock of Seagulls. And of their albums, I had hard time choosing between their debut Listen or this one. But I chose debut Listen, the album Listen. But I choose this one, the self-titled from 1982. And it's so really, really great synth pop. Really, really suitable for its time. Great produced. It managed to play so well, their synthesizers here. Having awesome tracks like Modern Love is Automatic, Iran, Space Age Love Song, some really, really great songs that I bought at the record fair here in Sundsvall many years ago.
Number 7.
And at number 7, another of my absolute favorite bands, Talk Talk, and their album It's My Life. May not be ordinary choice. It's their most selling album, but it's the album also that consists the best hits. Having here, like it says here, including It's My Life, Such a Shame, Dumb Dumb Girl, Does Caroline Know? It's really, really awesome and well made, relaxing. Really just lay down and listen to the real fantastic production and the singer's fantastic voice. It's not fantastic voice. He has a very strange voice, but it's very suitable for this production.
Number 6.
To an album that is newly discovered. I bought this one in Stockholm last year. New Music and their album Anywhere from 1981. I know that some of you, Rob in Boston for that matters, shout out to you, is a huge fan of From A to B. I like From A to B also, but when I heard this one, their follow-up album, I was very, very stunned because it was so magnificent. Really, really relaxing, fantastic produced, dreamy pop music, real fantastic. The song Luxury is so fantastic, awesome done. So highly recommended.
Number 5.
An album that have been with me since mid-90s when I bought it on cassette, and then recently I found it on vinyl. I've showed this one many times. Happy to show it again. At number 5, Propaganda from Germany with their album A Secret Wish from 1985 or 84. 85. This one is experimental. It is so fantastic produced. Very, very unpredictable and also very the band that you can tell that they're having fun while they're playing, and it's fantastic melodies that you never know where it's going to end actually, but at the same time it is fantastic melodies, including one of the best songs ever, P Machinery, and the song Dr. Mabou is also a fantastic song, so highly recommended.
Number 4.
Getting close. Number 4 is an album that I also showed many times. I'm not going to waste much time. I think you've seen it a lot of times. Gotta have some Pet Shop Boys, and they only released two real studio albums during the 80s. So I choose Actually from 1987. It's an album that have been with me since childhood when I bought it on cassette. Having the classics here. What Have I Done to Deserve This? It's a Sin, and Rent, and even if Always on My Mind isn't on this album, it's also a classic from the same year. but you have album tracks that are great, like Hit Music, Shopping, and it's just hit after hit after hit, and it's so fantastic, well made, and really, really fantastic album.
Number 3.
Bronze position is one of my absolute favorite bands that have released their latest album in 2012, I think, and the album was, just as the album title said, brilliant. Talking about Ultravox, and also here I could have picked any Ultravox album because they're so great, all of them. But I chose Rage in Eden, who I think is my absolute favorite. From 1981. This is dramatic, it is well-made synth pop, Midge Ure's fantastic voice, and it is mysterious, exciting, everything that can be expected in a synth pop song from the early 80s. Having fantastic songs here like The Voice, The Thin Wall, and some really, really awesome well-made songs.
Number 2.
Number 2, and of course, might sound a little strange that I say that this is my favorite band, but I don't place them as number 1. But I think the number 1 is pretty obvious because it's been with me since childhood. Now I think I give you a little peek of what album I meant. But number 2, silver position, goes to Depeche Mode. And of all Depeche Mode albums of the 80s, that one was tough. I could have picked Music for the Masses. I could have picked Some Great Reward. Could have picked A Broken Frame. It's a really, really tough choice. But this album is with songs that have been with me since my childhood. Is a fantastic classic. Synth pop all the way. For in the album Black Celebration from 1986. The title track was never released on a single, but it should have, because it would have been just as big classic as Blasphemous Rumors. It's not so far away from that song. It was a huge hit for them. But we're also having here A Question of Lust. We have A Question of Time, Stripped. Fantastic songs. Here Is the House, album track, fantastic song. This is so fantastic, well made. This is synth pop when it is at its best. And Dave Gahan, of course, fantastic singer here. This is a killer synth pop album.
And finally, number 1.
I don't think that anybody would be surprised by this choice. I've shown this album over and over and over again, so I'm not going to waste much time talking about it, but I think everyone have guessed that it is, of course, Alphaville's classic Forever Young, since I have said that it's one of the best albums ever made. Dreamy, really relaxing, fantastic melodies, also unpredictable, with small synthesizer stylish symphony inside of the songs. So fantastic, well made, that I get chills, goosebumps listening to this one still after all these years. So with that, I hope that you are satisfied with my chart. Most likely you will have you who listen to new wave synth pop from the 80s have other choices, and great, I love that. So with that, I hope that you have a very nice continuing of the week, and until we see each other again, so long.